It is what? September 5th, 2020, 6:03 p.m. At economy and where the air cooler is quote unquote not working. It's extremely hot in this room. Right. It's plugged into the wall, right?
Huh?
It's plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on cool. And it's blowing hot air.
For me, it's like a cooler.
No, that's not the cooler. And since you guys came in and took the cooler off the wall the other day, now it's hanging off the wall.
What?
Since you guys came in the other day and took it off, it's hanging off the wall now.
What? Hello?
This is P.O.C. The door is open. And that is the sound of the cooler coming back on. It does not have a temperature controller. It is set on cool, just as the employee came in and did it. This is P.O.C. just reporting it to the third parties themselves. And this is him in my room in ILA using a communication device. This has caused extreme heat inside of my room. It's been excessively hot in here.
It's not hot. You can come outside and
No, it has an air conditioner. It should work. So I just want to let you know there are laws also that require it to be habitable for a human being to be in. It's excessively hot in here with the air not working. But it's plugged in and it's set on cool, but it's turning off and remaining off.
I feel the cold here.
And you can say whatever you want. It's hot as hell. I'm sweating. It's hot in here.
I feel cold here, honestly.
You said what?
I feel cold.
You feel the cool air is blowing now. That's why you feel cold. It was not before, and it's been doing that since I told you on video the other day that it turns on and off itself. It's doing that today.
Sometimes
it is excessively hot.
Thermostat, so it automatically check the temperature.
Where's the thermostat? And if that's the
inside
case, guess what? If that's the case, then it should be on because it's hot. Are you saying the thermostat, this thermostat is broken? Because it's hot.
If thermostat is broken, then it's supposed to be done to blow the cold air. Sometimes we put on the cold and it blows the hot air. So
right. This is a comfort series, and there is no thermostat, but you're claiming that there is.
There's a thermostat.
And if no, there isn't. And if there is a thermostat, then it's still not working according to that thermostat because it is hot. That's why I had to call you.
I'm not an engineer.
No, I know, but you're telling me about the product itself, but you're making excuses, and I'm letting you know that excuse doesn't work either, because if there's a thermostat, then it should have been on.
So you think I'm making excuses?
You are.
I'm making excuses, okay.
Thank you for it's coming on, though, but what I want you to know is when you leave the room...
Come just outside and check, like, if you think it's hot air, then it's supposed to be
So
hot.
you're telling me I need to step outside because the air doesn't work?
You think it's hot, but it's blowing cold air.
It's blowing cold air right now, yes. It was not when you walked in. Okay, and that's what it was doing for. So what are you saying?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm letting you know it was not blowing cold air the entire time. That's why it's so warm in here. That's activity creation. And it's been hanging off the wall since you guys came in and took it off, and it wasn't leaking water. It was never leaking water. But since you guys came and took it out, it's been hanging off the wall like that. But thank you for fixing it. Now it's blowing cold air. This is a third party downstairs in relevant position.
Sorry, what?
Is that it?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Is it going to come back off
Take
again?
my picture so you can send.
I'm not taking video. But don't worry, I'm documenting if that's what you're saying. I am. I'm documenting the fact that this isn't working according to your claimed thermostat as well. This is a comfort series.
I'm not,
All right. So anyway, the issue is that
Right now
it
it's
turns
working.
on and off.
Huh?
The issue is that it turns on and off. That's the
Yes.
issue.
No.
So you're here
Okay,
right now and it
sometimes-
turns back on. And so what about it
I did
turning
on.
off?
I did turn on.
You didn't turn it on. It just came back on by itself because there is no
Okay,
operation
okay,
whereby it
I'm
turns
not
off
gonna
and
argue.
on.
It's okay, it's back on by itself, okay?
It did.
Okay.
What did you do? You did not do anything.
Okay,
It was
I
already
didn't do
set.
anything. I'm not-
Exactly. That's why you're
I'm not
frustrated.
trying, sorry.
But thank you
I'm
for
not
walking
trying.
out.
Okay.
What's your name?
Saul.
Saul. Thank you, Saul. That's called P.O.C. ILA in the room. That's calling the third party himself that works here. He did absolutely nothing because what it is the affecting of the power. The setting is on the exact same settings that I had it on cool, on air conditioning mode. This is a comfort series. This is an old machine. He's claiming that it has a thermostat. That's a lie from a third party. And this is that which he actually came in and did nothing. What happened is while he was in here, the air mode came back on. This is another form of harmful contact. They do the same thing with the fake sun object. That is the creation of a battery for a criminal purpose. And so inside of this room at this third-party facilitating venue, it is excessively hot inside of this room. And so that is also a matter of inflicting harm, cruel and unusual and criminally desperate and extreme measures of engaging in the criminal P.O.C. The exact element that they are engaging in when they are turning off and on the air is the activity creation. Again, this third-party employee did absolutely nothing with regard to the operation of this device. It was already on the cooler mode. It was already on the coldest temperature available. He literally stood there while it turned back on. Okay, it is plugged in. There is absolutely no difference. What it is that I have called the third party themselves and brought up the issue of their criminal engagement, because that's what it is. These are the elements of monitoring as they are occurring inside of the room through the state's use of inanimate objects that is facilitated by this third-party venue. This is the third party that enters in, and I am merely documenting the ways in which they lie, the ways in which they are engaged in P.O.C. as they come in engaged in form of quote-unquote fixing the device that's not broken. It is not broken at all. This is the affecting the power that is allotted to the machine in order that it stays off like it was blowing hot air. Like I said, it is extremely hot in this room to the extent that I am sweating. And it takes a lot for me to sweat. I do not automatically just start perspiring. And this is that which they are engaged in while the fake sun remains over this venue. And while they are engaged in monitoring while he was inside of the room. You got a third party right next door at 231, opening, standing at my open doorway. You've got a third party, a heavy set Latina female, standing right in front of my doorway on the first floor. They're both in relevant position. He, in what I captured, is him stepping out, talking to that third party. This is third party P.O.C. They are engaged in the criminal elements of relevant positioning in the concentrated light that the state has placed over this venue. While what I am documenting is calling that third party that's facilitating the state's criminal conduct and having them directly approach that which is P.O.C. in my room, controlling this machine and creating that which is an inhumane and unlawful circumstance that I'm in the room literally burning up because they are engaged in creating activity for the criminal purpose of monitoring while group stalkers are surrounding. This is P.O.C. and while he was in the room again, ILA aimed into the room through the open doorway. That's letting in more impossible light activity. The state's fake sun object remaining above this venue. So this is P.O.C. from the beginning to the end. It is ceaseless. This is documentation of a third party engaged in facilitation, lying about your own property and the way that it operates. That's facilitation. That's lying. That's complicity. This is concealment. And this is that which is assessed under the totality of facts. And this is also that which is within a pattern. So the state and third parties using the property itself, using objects inside of whatever area or space that I'm in, is a pattern with regard to the creation of activity. They did this inside of West Valley Jail. They did this inside of Central Detention Center. They did this inside of Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, Central Detention Center, and West Valley, where I was subject to false imprisonment based on the criminal conduct of the police, of lawyers, and of judges engaged in criminal concealment, obstruction of publishing documentation, obstruction of asserting a lawful case against the state for this very same pattern of conduct of monitoring, which is a system in the state of California. It's September 5th, 2020, and again, the other venue where I was Woodside Senior Apartments, engaged in the same pattern, using inanimate objects inside of the location where I remain at that private residence. So this is inside of Mayfair Inn, engaging and using the same tactic for creating activity. This is Economy Inn, engaged in that same pattern. Woodside Senior Apartments, documented as engaged in that same pattern, subject to false imprisonment at the aforesaid location, Central Detention Center, Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, West Valley Detention Center, using the same means of creating activity, and that is P.O.C. Again, it's September 5th, 2020. I'm at third-party facilitating venue Economy Inn. It is 6:23 p.m. and what I want to show is that the air is back to blowing hot air. This is the same engagement in P.O.C. This is the unilateral, I put in quotes, unilateral operation of this old air cooler on the wall. It's plugged in. It's set to the same exact mode of cool. It's set to the coldest temperature possible of cooler. And again, these are turn knobs that are on this Comfort Series product. Meaning you turn the dial, that's how old it is. There is no thermostat. This is affecting the power that's allotted to this machine. And while I'm sitting in my room reviewing what I just recorded, this is just additional. It's as of 6:23 p.m. and actually it was before that, 6:22 p.m. while I was still reviewing what I just previously recorded for purposes of uploading P.O.C. It has again stopped blowing cool air. This is what maintains the hot temperature inside of my room. This is the state's infliction of additional harm, creating a battery against that targeted individual, subject to the state's ongoing engagement in a state-organized system of monitoring and group stalking, where they are creating activity inside of my room, doing so by, number one, what I've documented, third parties in the state turning my television inside of the room on and off, okay? Now, there is no plausible argument for such conduct where one would claim, okay, I'm even going to make an argument for the state that it's a power outage whereby the television is turning off, but you have the television that is turning on. You have the television that engages in turning itself back on after a assumed power outage. This is not what is occurring, and this is a pattern, and this is that which I have already documented, like visually, to see on my YouTube page with regard to P.O.C. as it occurs at this third-party facilitating venue, which is currently Economy Inn in Ontario, California. This is another method of the same exact criminal conduct. It is criminal because it is activity creation for the criminal purpose of monitoring with communication devices while the state is engaged in operating a group stalking system in concert with the people of California. There are no exceptions to that, meaning it is inclusive of employees, of patrons, and third parties that only come onto the property grounds to engage in relevant positioning and activity creation. So what I am stating is just because they are on the grounds does not in any way mean that they are a patron, that they are anyway connected in any way with any third party. Here you have third parties that, as I've shown, lie and engage in form. This is a system that is a matter of public corruption, and so they are merely engaging in relevant positioning in whatever form that they do. Form is irrelevant, and this is a means of them doing so. The air that is now blowing hot air again, this is what is maintaining the excessively warm temperature inside of this room. This is intentional conduct because, as I document, again, the state is monitoring that which it is being documented of. So this is speaking to the malice. This is speaking to intentional conduct. Everything that I also document with regard to online obstruction and blocking my access to the public, blocking my ability to publish, to use functions on the internet or on the apps. This is all that same conduct. It exists in different forms, but it is the same criminal conduct designed for the same criminal purpose of monitoring and obstruction of exposure of that monitoring system. It's 6:26 p.m. and this is just again to show how he did absolutely nothing. Like I said, all he did was stand there while the power was allotted to the machine such that the air function came on. He did absolutely nothing. Speaking about a thermostat, speaking about opening the door to compare, which was a tangent, had nothing to do with the fact that the air came back on by itself merely while he was present, which is what? Based on the elements. You've got light, ILA beaming into the room. You've got the fake sun over the venue. You have third parties that are standing outside, crowding around the door, downstairs in relevant position, next door in relevant position as the door is open. You have the third party employee standing right here in my room, feigning repairing that which he is not repairing at all. And you have the cooler that comes back on. That's a creation of activity. That's audible activity while they are in relevant position with communication devices. Whether he operates it or not, he doesn't have to operate it. Again, relevant positioning is about presence, being in the path of the one that is being monitored with communication devices. The state is present as well, flying over, stalking in aircrafts, planes and helicopters, and police. All of this is documented specifically here at Economy Inn, but it is documented documented as a matter of prolonged history. These are already established facts, and this is what is occurring as far as the elements are concerned, and this is its significance with regard to economy and the fact that he did not fix anything, like I stated, and as of 6/23, it turned back off again. And this is not a malfunction in the same way that my internet apps are not malfunctioning. The internet is not actually malfunctioning. The television is not malfunctioning. This is not electricity malfunctioning. This is a pattern. And this is that which is exposing how a criminal stalker like the state of California, acting with the people of that state, using the environment to engage in monitoring with communication devices, and that is the key. They are using a means of technology, meaning they don't have to enter my room, they don't have to knock on my door, even though they engage in such harassing tactics, and they don't have to engage in speaking to me at all. They only have to be present in the path. That is relevant position with a communication device. And the universal facts speak to that system where the state is stalking, where the state is placing enhanced light tactics. This is P.O.C. And this is the use of that which represents a harmful or offensive contact, that which has not been addressed by legislation, because you are I am documenting that which is occurring within the context of a criminal system operating at large with the people of California. And this is including that which is engaged in with the use of light, which is extremely harmful when it is aimed on you at all hours of the day, remaining present above you. That is another form of infliction of harm inside of this room where it is uninhabitable. It is currently uninhabitable, where it is excessively hot, and this is that which is intentionally done. Again, the state acts with specific knowledge. Third parties act with specific knowledge. And so I'm going to cut this recording off now, but I am only seeking to stress how it is the pattern of conduct of monitoring that is underway, and it is that which is within the pattern that has been documented before getting to Economy N. It is engaged in here at Economy N. The fact that his misrepresentations of fact, of plausible, of the case being implausible, that which he speaks of, there is no thermostat. He absolutely did nothing. He stood there as it turned back on, and as he left, it's engaging in the same criminal purpose of that is being controlled by the state. The third parties act in concert and on behalf of the state, so you have it being facilitated at Economy N, and it serves that criminal system that the state of California is operating. And this is the continued effects of the power causing the cooler function to turn off, and it is in fact blowing hot air. And so this is that which has been occurring for since being here, but today specifically, September 5th, all day long, not blowing the air since I turned it on, and that is a pattern of conduct. It is September 5th, 2020. It's 6:31 p.m. and as I'm recording outside, I do hear, like about maybe less than 60 seconds ago, the state flying over an airplane and amplified airplanes. But this is the cooler that I'm right here in front of. This is just speaking to the ongoing pattern of conduct. I tweet about this. I include it in my documentation that I put on the online platforms. This is that which has been documented in video, uploaded to YouTube. This is more of the same. We're just speaking of how this is not separate. It is very much included in the pattern of conduct. Serving that purpose of activity creation. And you can create activity in any way. Activity is merely code. It's merely a term of art for any kind of noise, any sort of change in what is occurring. This is how you monitor with communication devices and visual activity with light, with movement of anything. Using a television screen. These are ways that you engage in creating activity. While group stalking, which is the element of relevant positioning amongst a group of people, that is the people of the state of California, and while the state is, as a matter of fact, and already established fact, stalking in various forms, in planes, helicopters, and police. It is 6:32 p.m. and that is P.O.C. Okay, as a reminder, be sure to review my documentation that is published. I am on pretty much a plethora of platforms under the same name. I am Erica Lorraine Spencer. That is the name that I have uploaded and established my online presence on Facebook, on Instagram, on Tumblr, on TikTok, on YouTube, especially with video documentation and playlists that I have categorized by venue, speaking to the ongoing presence of the elements of monitoring as the state is an operation of group stalking for the criminal purpose of what is group monitoring with communication devices, and the documentation of the concentrated light that remains directly above my head as I travel to every single location. That cumulative documentation shows and demonstrates that it is not actually the sun that is remaining directly over my head, directly over whatever building I am inside of, which is the case while I am here at Economy Inn. This is that which is whether a third-party minion having no factual or scientific support wants to posit that it is actually the sun, irrespective of that irrelevant distraction, that is the presence of light, period. And so you have all three elements of monitoring that exist at all times. This is the state's operation of group stalking for the criminal purpose of monitoring. They are engaged in surveillance. They are engaged in harassment in their implementation of that criminal system in concert with third parties. Third parties are the people of the state of California. There is no exception or exclusion from that group. And third parties act as a group. It is group stalking. They do not act individually. They engage in individual acts pursuant to that same group in concert with that network of communication devices that single acting third party is cooperatively acting with, and all of which is in concert with the state of California that is operating that system. And this is how you get to group stalking. With regard to my online presence, again, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Tumblr, on Facebook, on Instagram, where it is under my name, Erica Lorraine Spencer. The platforms, these are online venues, they are third parties. They are engaged in actively obstructing my access to the public, but you can search my name, and I am a Black female using the same picture, using the same exact name. The state is in concert with third parties on the internet engaged in that same targeting system for the criminal purpose of obstruction, for the criminal purpose of concealment of this system. And so you can listen to my podcasts on Anchor. They are distributed on different hosts as well, which I will continue to publish, but this is just with knowledge as I am online publishing the state's criminal pattern of conduct of that is in operation in California. These same platforms are engaged in concerted efforts of limiting my reach to the public, of misrepresenting my documentation and its substance, acting in concert with third parties that are placing harassing, false, and defamatory conduct and speech on the internet, which precedes my name. If you search my name, this is concerted conduct, this is obstruction, and this is the state in operation on the internet. So this is a matter of documentation. This is just speaking to that which is occurring. But again, my material, my documentation, which speaks for itself, irrespective of any defamation, irrespective of third-party conduct of trying to obstruct it. It is in existence under my name, Erica Lorraine Spencer, under each of the platforms, and it is also that which is documentation of that system. And this obstructive conduct by third parties online, and I'm speaking about Facebook, I'm speaking about Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok, YouTube, Google itself, which is engaged in generating and giving precedent to my name and what generates under my name. This is the system in operation on the online venue of the internet. It is 7:41 p.m. and with regard to this documentation, particularly at Economy Inn, I want to note again, as I've already completed that recording of that episode of P.O.C. And as I'm editing it, again, you have the AC function. This is a wall function. It is called Comfort Series. I'm going to upload a picture And just so you can see how old it is, how it is a relic, it does not have a temperature controlling function. This is clearly the state engaging in criminal activity creation. It's an element. Engaging in the elements of monitoring is a criminal act. And this is that, it's just that which has not been addressed by legislation. And that is not by coincidence, where is the state, where it is the government itself engaging in that criminal conduct. This is my exposing it, and this is how they do so, through the creepy manner of controlling inanimate objects in my room. And the way that it is because, number one, you identify it because it is within a pattern, and number two, because it is clearly operating. It's not the failure of electricity. It is operating contrary to that which it is set to do and designed to do. It does not have a temperature controlling function. It is not a failure of electricity. It is clearly being used as a means of creating noise in my room, noise which mirrors my movement and my use of internet. It is also that which is a constant means of activity creation as I just exist in the room, turning itself on and off. And again, it is not literally turning itself on. This is controlling the power. This is controlling that which is occurring inside of the room in the same way that the television is controlled. When I'm not touching the remote, I have not set it, I'm not touching it. This is that which is another means of creating activity. This is the pattern, and that is the P.O.C. So again, Erica Lorraine Spencer, you can find me online. My documentation speaks for itself, and the efforts to defame and harass and misrepresent facts, and also misconstrue and misrepresent the substance of my documentation, that in and of itself is also documented online as it occurs. But I exist online, and you can find my material that way, finding how this is consistent with all of that which I have documented, especially with regard to the concentrated light activity over this venue, my documentation of what I have termed the, quote, fake sun, showing how I have documented at every place that I go, this alleged sun is squarely above my head, irrespective of any direction that I travel, which is in direct conflict with the actual sun. Again, you can Google the actual latitude and longitude of the sun and where it is at any time of day, and it certainly does not remain in Ontario on Hope Boulevard, over Stater Brothers, over Coin Laundry, over Woodside Senior Apartments, over Mayfair Inn, over Ontario Town Square, over Economy Inn, over Walmart, at all hours of the day while I am there, directly above me, which is the pattern that I've demonstrated in my documentation. That pattern of being directly over me, that pattern of remaining directly over the environment where I'm at, that is the state using light for its criminal purpose of monitoring, which coexist with group stalking as they maintain perpetual presence in relevant position as a group with communication devices. And that is how the system works, and that's what I've documented from place to place to place. And that is what is occurring at Economy Inn, using this air cooler as a means of not only inflicting a harmful or offensive contact. It is uninhabitable inside of the room. It is excessively hot, as not only the state is concentrating light on this venue and into my room. Light radiates heat, by the way. And they are doing this at all hours of the day and night. And they are also engaged in turning off the air. So the air is essentially running for about 10 minutes, and it remains running hot air for an excess of 30 to 35 minutes. And that is what it's doing now. It is not set on any schedule. It runs rapidly. It mirrors my movement. It mirrors what I am doing. If I swipe my screen, it is a means of creating noise. You monitor with noise while you are surrounding with communication devices and while light is aimed on you and your environment. That's how you monitor. And that's the pattern of conduct. It's 7:45 p.m. Again, and my point is to find me online and view my documentation, because that is the P.O.C. It is September 5th, 2020. It's 8:40 p.m. and I've been on the phone for 3 minutes, just letting the front office phone ring as the third parties are evading answering the phone. This is after reporting to third parties well aware of what they're doing. I'm just directly addressing the issue of the air, it's not an air conditioner, it's not central air, the air cooler not functioning, which it was doing all day long and creating excessive heat inside of the room, which I reported to him again after he left today, and it automatically just came back on while he stood there, and he did absolutely nothing, leaving me in the same condition, where again I documented on my podcast and live, and as I got back on it and noted how it turned off again. I have reported to him this same issue in addition to the obstruction of my ability to access the internet as the state and third parties are blocking the Wi-Fi. This is now a pattern under the law where you have more than one occurrence. It is a pattern. This is a method of obstructing my ability to access the internet, to publish information in real time while the state is stalking in aircrafts over this facility, while the state is engaged in placing its fake light sources, that is the fake sun at day, that is the fake moon, directly in the same location at night, while third parties are engaged in group stalking with the state at Economy Inn. And this is now almost 5 minutes. It's 8:41 p.m. and they are refusing to answer the front office phone. And this is also, hello? Is someone there? Oh, it stops ringing as someone knocks on the door. This is real-time conduct. This is front office. It's 8:42 p.m. Hi.
You checking out? The guy can close the door?
It is cold.
Yeah, I told you it turns back on and off just like when you stood there and it just came back on and you didn't do anything. It came back on. It keeps turning off.
Okay, can you show me the Wi-Fi?
Sure. Can I see your Wi-Fi? Let me see yours. Right, because it's peculiar to my phones, because it's not just this phone. Oh, great. It's connected. So when you leave, is it going to disconnect again?
No, it's not on me. There's all sensor.
All
There's
sensor.
Wi-Fi.
I'm in the same room. I'm using the same device. And so why would the Wi-Fi turn off suddenly?
I know. I don't know why. That's why I just received the
Okay,
box.
so as far as you said, so what?
I received the box.
The box?
Yeah, we have to take it out the plug and put
We
it
have to
back.
reboot. We have to reboot. Okay?
I don't know what that means, but this is
You can connect.
showing how it's disconnected. When I was showing the
Disconnect now.
yeah, I took no, honestly, I'm just letting you know I'm documenting.
I know. I checked.
Because you're asking me as though.
I came.
But can I say something to you? Like when you come and the air turns back on, that doesn't resolve the issue because you're here. And then also, but it does speak to the fact that it turns. It does speak to the fact that it turns on and off by itself, which it's not designed to do. That's an old machine. And secondly, the Wi-Fi, which is malfunctioning, where I'm in the same position, I'm using the same device, and I'm right by the router. So why would they fail?
I don't know why, because I came upstairs and it wasn't connect my phone too. So I received the box and it's worked.
Come over here.
Okay, so when we're in a, what is this, like a COVID-19 sort of climate and people are relying on the internet and you're saying that it's here, the room is paid for,
Yeah.
I should be able to access it, right?
Yeah, so you have the access.
Okay.
Okay.
You understand my concern though.
Everyone
I'm not
has the
trying,
access.
all right, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm letting you know.
Okay.
No, everyone
No,
does
I
not.
don't know why.
If I can't access it,
I'm
then that's a
confused too.
problem.
I'm confused too. Because I fixed in the morning
Uh-huh.
today. And still again, that's why I was like, what happened? You know?
Well, as far as accessing it, it's not just this phone. It said that
So
phone
now
as well.
this
It's
phone
saying
works.
specifically a failure to obtain IP
I
address
understand.
on more than one phone.
Okay.
I understand this
Oh,
one.
yeah, we're leaving.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
okay.
By
Thank
third
you.
party.
We didn't mean to cause any trouble.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
Yeah, our
Thank you.
friend is going to stay.
This is
He
called
just came back
P.O.C.
a little bit.
This is
Okay.
audible activity in
Is it
relevant
okay, though?
position.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
As
you,
they
thank
just
you,
stand
thank
in
you.
front of
We
my door.
understand. We fully understand. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
By third parties, got a laptop and a phone in hand. That's P.O.C. So
Those are the room. Why are you taking recording every time? I don't understand.
I'm not. I'm just holding my phone, and we've got another one right here. See, what's happening now is now third parties are coming to my door to talk to the employees. This is called form for P.O.C.
The key card and like it's not working.
That's a third party. So this is group stalking. And this is how they engage in that. And the state is over the venue in airplanes sitting in the sky. This is POC. So anyway, it's going to work now?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to come in front of the door? Anybody else? I'm going to come ask them a question in front of my door? No? Okay. All right, that's POC. Have a good night. It's 8:45 p.m. Again, so what you want to note is that is the air conditioning, the cooler, again, because this is not central air. This is the air cooler in operation earlier today when he's standing here, again, doing nothing because it's not a malfunction. This is a matter of controlling the power, so it comes back on while he's in the room. When he comes to the room, the air cooler has already turned back on in order to suggest that there is no problem. That is not the case. POC continues because he's not fixing. There is nothing to fix. My purpose in addressing it with a third party is to document complicity, concerted conduct with the state that is using this cooler as a means of creating activity because there is nothing for him to fix. There is clearly not an issue with the power, where it's blowing hot air, and also where it's going back and forth between cold air and hot air. And this is also that which occurred after I called him at the office, which is not a coincidence. After it engaged in 2 hours straight and blowing nothing but hot air, specifically after I reported it to him, before I reported it to him, after I reported it to him, and while I was uploading my podcast on Anchor, it literally blew twice. By blew I mean engaged in blowing actually air conditioning, cold air, for 10 minutes. He came, it started to blow as he arrived, it stopped about 10 minutes later, engaged in blowing hot air for that entire time. At 7:23, I believe, while I was in the midst of uploading and editing my podcast, it engaged in reverting to air conditioning for about less than 5 minutes, and it again reverted back to the hot air function. This is not a failure of power. This is not a failure to engage in that function of blowing cold air like it is designed to do, like it is set to do. This is activity creation. What I also want to show is that this is relevant with regard to blocking my ability to access the internet as I report it to the third party. This is a third party employee. He arrives. Again, what's the pattern? That the quote unquote issue is fixed. Now the Wi-Fi is connected. I am engaged in systematic documentation because of the design of the system, and third parties lie, and the state is a malicious designer of the system. And so this is showing how, again, this quote-unquote issue reported to him is fixed after remaining in prolonged inability to get on the internet. And again, that poses a severely credible threat relevant under Civil Code Section 1708.7 and Penal Code 646.9, where the government is engaged in operating a group stalking system in concert with the people of the state of California who are surrounding, engaged in that stalking conduct, engaged in monitoring, and engaged in invasion of privacy and surveillance, as my documentation already proves. And so when you are cutting off the targeted individual's ability to publish that which they remain subject to on the internet because the court system is not an option, where the judges and the lawyers and the police are engaged in criminal concealment and obstruction and defamation, and false imprisonment, malicious and fictitious prosecutions and charges in order to conceal that system. The court system is not an option. Calling the police, the state that is engaged in that stalking system, is not an option. So posting it on the internet remains that which is a real-time alternative to exposing that which they remain subject to. And so this is how third-party conduct and state conduct is relevant on as I am documenting each element that they engaged in for purposes of monitoring, and how it is relevant to what the law states as a credible threat. And there is a potent credible threat where, number one, the state is engaged, and number two, the state and third parties acting together to group stalk and monitor are engaged in cutting off resources in order to seek resolution where you are subject to that system. And so this is how all those facts are relevant. It is not just about an air cooler. It is about engaging in criminal conduct whereby they are creating activity in my room pursuant to a criminal system of monitoring. And activity is the second element of monitoring. In publishing that document, in exposing and documenting it and publishing it on the internet, cutting off my ability to access the internet, is the criminal engagement in obstruction and concealment, which poses a credible threat where you are at no other resolution available to you, whereby, as I've documented, the court system itself is engaged in this criminal pattern of conduct, including concealment and obstruction, and also the design to maliciously malign, misrepresent, and defame the character of that targeted individual who is exposing that system. And so this is how blocking my Wi-Fi, this is how using the air cooler in my room for creation of activity for purposes of monitoring is relevant to the entire system, to what I am documenting. And the other thing that I want to point out is, as third parties are in my room with the door open, you have the same pattern of group conduct. They are engaging in form, which is relevant, but this is how they engage in it. These are the employees, and so you have third parties that engage in form by speaking to the employees and asking them questions, things that they need or claiming to need. Whether they actually need them or not is irrelevant. What it is the creation of audible activity while they are engaged in surrounding conduct. They are on all sides of me while the room is opened up, all with communication devices, while the state is present in airplanes over the venue and placing its fake moon over the venue and aiming light onto the environment. These are all the elements of P.O.C. It exists daytime and nighttime, and this is P.O.C. as they're coming around in front of my door and asking the employees questions. This is a pattern of conduct, and they're just capitalizing on the fact that my room is opened up, and so you have groups of third parties that are coming to the front of my door and asking them and speaking to them, and whatever the substance of that conversation, it is irrelevant, and this is what I'm speaking to. You focus on the conduct, you focus on the elements that speak to whatever words that they are saying. The impact, the substantive impact of that conduct is what is revealing the pattern of conduct, of monitoring. They are physically present in relevant position, each representing a communication device, coinciding with the stalking presence of the state, which is already an established fact, and occurring while they are, with regard to the element of light, which remains present. And so that is P.O.C. And this is what I documented in that recording. When you review it, is what you have are the third parties that began again to create more activity, and what is crossing path. That's what they were doing. They were engaging the criminal elements of activity creation by way of speaking, talking, noise, that's audible activity, and doing so carrying a laptop, carrying their cell phones. This is P.O.C. And then you have a second, that was the first group of about 4 third parties stopping in front of my door to have a conversation while they all have communication devices in tow, okay? And then you have a second one that stops in front of my door to have a pertinent conversation about asking a question, some need for their room. The substance of this is a distraction you focus on with monitoring, and with the state engaged in a monitoring system where they're using the people of California, they necessarily engage in those elements in some sort of form. And so this is how it's going to appear, and you have to strip down form in order to get to the substance. And that conduct in all of its substance are all 3 criminal elements of monitoring. And that is what I want to point out is what was occurring in real time as I was speaking to the third party employees with the door open, as you had one after another come in front of my door and engaging in creating audible activity while in relevant position with communication devices, engaged in the monitoring with the third party employees, with the state. This is third parties acting with the state, and this is what group stalking appears as. They are not going to be wearing ninja suits. They're not going to be jumping around, invisibly hiding in bushes. You're talking about invasion of privacy. So they act pursuant to what they are aware of in real time. As I move, they are aware of my movement. This is how they engage in creating activity in my room, mirroring my movements. This is pursuant to ongoing, incredibly unfathomable levels of invasion of privacy by a group together. You're not just talking about the state that's listening. The third parties and the state are listening together, acting together to create activity, acting together to maintain perpetual presence in relevant position. And it is just merely the alternating means and methods of activity. You go from sirens to the helicopter, to airplanes, to amplified traffic, to the sound of hitting the walls, to the sound of some loud thump behind the refrigerator, to the sound of some voice in front of my door, to the sound of someone stomping, to the sound of the air cooler that's turning on and off by itself, to the sound of the television that's abruptly turned off. You have those are just different methods of the same exact engagement in criminal activity creation while group stalking is ongoing. They maintain presence with communication devices, and that is the significance of what I am documenting, of what is actually occurring. While they are doing whatever they're doing, saying whatever they're saying, going wherever they are going in relevant position with communication devices under the state's placed positioned light. That is P.O.C. for monitoring. It is September 5th, 2020. It's 8:55 p.m. And that was another episode of calling in the third-party employees at Economy Inn to address the ongoing, quote-unquote, I put in air quotes, malfunctioning of the air cooler and the Wi-Fi, which as of now we have a pattern of that. This is not a malfunction, again, that is blocking my access to the internet. And again, what I'm doing at the time that I'm doing it is very relevant. It is relevant to my documentation of the third-party online venues, the platforms themselves engaged in concerted conduct to obstruct my ability to access the public and to publish my documentation. And in anticipation of my documenting that, my ability to access Wi-Fi to get on the internet using my phone is immediately cut off. That's what happened last night at, it was early this morning around 1 something a.m. when I was on my Facebook page which is a public page, which Facebook is not publishing online when you search for my name. That's intentional conduct. Anyway, that's P.O.C. and it's 8:56 p.m. You can research it does not take, well, it might take a little bit of effort because the online platforms are engaged in concerted conduct of seeking to obstruct my ability to reach as wide of an audience as I would if they were not misrepresenting my page, picking out particular posts to misrepresent the substance of my documentation, if they were not engaged in removing my pages, my profiles altogether off of the internet, if they were not engaged in not publishing my page or my profile whatsoever, if they were not engaged in constantly rearranging the order in which those profiles are generated if you do an ordinary search of my name, if they were not engaged in the altogether use of third-party concerted conduct for the purpose of targeted harassment and defamation, placing third-party commentaries about my name before generating results directly related to my name. So these are all different methods of the same obstruction, the same concealment, the same targeted harassment and defamation, which is pursuant to the pattern of conduct. It is not just monitoring that as a pattern of conduct, it is the pattern of conduct to conceal that system. The state system is designed to insulate itself from exposure. It is designed to evade prosecution. This is what the court system did by evading service of process pursuant to my meritorious civil suit against the state of California filed September 12, 2019 at the San Bernardino Superior Court under Thomas Garza, a criminal who engaged in a dereliction of duty, failing and evading, acting as the state, failing intentionally to order the sheriff's department, the sheriff's office to serve service of process, to provide service of process on behalf of a fee waiver recipient, which is a duty of its office. And so this is not a matter of debate. This is evasion of service of process by the state. The sheriff's department, the sheriff's office, they represent the state. The San Bernardino Superior Court, they represent the state. The criminal court engaged in malicious prosecutions and fictitious prosecutions brought on by the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office, having no probable cause, number one, for ever arresting me, number two, for ever prosecuting a case or feigning as though you were prosecuting a case under the fictitious name of F as in Frank Ramos. That does not exist on the California bar site. This is the connection of all facts which remain relevant. And so with regard to what I am documenting online, the experience, the targeting experience, the defamation online, this is the same pattern of conduct. It is not just to monitor and group stalk, it is to conceal the existence of that criminal conduct by way of false imprisonment, of defamation, of targeted harassment, which is what they do not only while in relevant position, they do it online. And this is all a matter of showing how the system itself is defiled and corrupt, and in order to expose it and prosecute it, it will exist outside of the system itself. And this is how and why it is necessary based on everything that I continue to document and publish. Okay, so Erica Lorraine Spencer is my entire complete name. On Facebook, I have a profile and a page. On Instagram, on TikTok, on Tumblr, on Twitter, on YouTube, which has a substantial amount to still be added to. I have a substantial amount of documentation in video and picture showing the ongoing stalking by the state. And the state engaged in stalking by police, airplanes, and helicopters is what prefaces the entire group stalking system, where the state is stalking by such means that is speaking to the existence of the group stalking system. That is a hallmark of group stalking in the state of California. And that is what I have a tremendous amount of documentation showing and establishing, and not just at private residence. You're talking about at every business venue. You're talking about that which I have also documented in different forms in writing, specifically before I began documenting it in pictures and video, aware of the fact that such an outlandish and unbelievable criminal system in existence has to be proven by direct evidence where you can see exactly what it is that I am describing, that I am experiencing, and it is a reality contrary to what third parties acting pursuant to the pattern of conduct seek to detract from, distract from, and defame me by, which is a means of blaming the one that is subject to a criminal system. This is a highly malicious system in operation in the courts, in the jails, at the city halls, in operation at every third-party venue that I go, which my documentation shows. It is 9 o'clock p.m. and I'm going to stop there, and that is the P.O.C.